Hello, I'm Natasha Chilingarian.
And I'm Michael Ogden. This is Shared Accounts with CU Times. Time is weird. You know, it's a weird statement, but we record ahead of time. So you hear this roughly 2 weeks or more after we are recording now. And it sometimes messes with my head, especially around like big holidays or events that happen in between recording and when the episode goes live. My point is, I have a terrible habit of looking at future me and what the guy needs instead of what now me needs. Does that make sense, Natasha?
Sure. I guess, yeah, I'll think about future me, but it's more, I don't know if I think about what I need then. I think about, like, I'll envision what future me is going to be doing and what life is going to look like, and it never matches what it ends up being.
Yeah, and I guess I'm talking even more granular, like what does tomorrow me need? I don't
Right.
want to wait. For instance, the easiest example, I'm a notoriously specific kitchen cleaner at night. I don't like to wake up to a
Oh,
messy kitchen,
same. Yes.
So tomorrow me can relax. That's how I look at things.
Oh, absolutely. For as far as that goes, yeah. I have a
Yeah.
plan. I am a list maker and I have the weekend already.
Mhm.
Like we're traveling next week, so
Yeah, yeah.
I have packing on the list. I have
Uh-huh.
nails appointment. I think so.
But see, and I can't do what you were talking about, I think, which is look so far in the future. Like today, for instance, you were talking about we have some podcast recordings coming up that you were asking about later in November.
Right.
That future me doesn't even exist. I have no
Really?
idea. No, I can't even see that
I don't
far.
know.
I can
Okay.
only look at like a day or two in advance, kind of.
Wow. I don't know. I'd probably be less stressed if I'd handled it that way instead of wrapping
Didn't,
everything that's coming up in the next month all in my brain at
well,
once. Maybe that's a bad
that's
habit.
that's
I
true.
don't know.
We should talk this out. I
We should.
guess we should start the show though.
Yeah.
Everybody, hello. Welcome to Shared Accounts with CU Times. Coming up, we're talking with Nikki Senyard again. We like her a lot. She is the CEO and founder of Fintel Connect, and this is our second time having her on the pod this year. She's going to be talking about affiliate marketing trends and compliance for credit unions that utilize third-party marketing content. We had a great time talking with her again, but first up, let's take a break from this week. Check in with Natasha. Hey, Em.
Hey, current M in the
Current,
now, not
current
future M.
me. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
How's the new mountain house?
Oh, it's great, and one small little development,
Okay.
we got our it's called a bear box, finally got installed. So
Uh-huh.
it's a box, it's like this giant it looks kind of like a dumpster, the size of like a maybe a mini garbage dumpster.
It needs to look like a bear.
Well, no, it's the point is that it deters
I know.
bears,
I know.
so they should call it a bear deterring box, not a bear box.
Okay.
But, yeah, I'm very excited because that means now we don't have to wake up at 5 AM to put the trash out on trash day. We can put it in the night before, and we
Ooh,
know that it won't be all over the road in the morning.
ooh la la.
So it's like a bear-proof box that the garbage
Uh-huh.
person can still get into.
So let me ask you if I can dig into this for a second because this is bizarre world for me.
Sure.
Does the city give you this or do you have to go buy it?
Yeah, well, we're renting, but no, the owner had to actually buy it. I don't know how much it was. It looks like it was a whole ordeal. They had to, like, install it, pour concrete, and do all this,
Oh
but
my God, really?
yeah, it's an individual homeowner expense.
Could you please take a picture and send it to me?
I will. I have one. I already took
Okay.
one, so I
Maybe
will
we'll put it in
send
the
that
show
over.
notes.
We could, that might be fun.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you watch this past week?
Yeah, so well, I had a list of movies I was trying to get through that
Mm-hmm.
just came up on the streaming this month. So I watched Woman of the Hour with Anna Kendrick
Oh, Anne
starred in it.
Kendrick. Yeah, what'd you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. It was about this serial killer who also somehow ended up as a
Mhm.
contestant on the dating game
That's right.
show in the I think it was late 70s.
Late 70s.
Very
Yeah.
creepy. So it just kind of demonstrated how things were just I mean, the police must not have been doing their job very well catching this guy. And
Mhm.
it's funny, it also made me think of how in like the 70s, and it doesn't seem like there were a lot of serial killers back then. They were talking about, I mean, who else was there? There was like
Son of Sam.
the son of Sam. I think the Manson thing happened. But I feel like back then, it was really maybe more likely to get caught by a serial killer because they did so many things that were really unsafe. Like, for example,
Okay.
hitchhiking was a thing.
Oh,
Like, it
sure.
was just a normal thing, and I was thinking about that the other day after watching this movie. I was like, "Can you believe that?" Like, that was just a normal thing, like, people would hitchhike. Did you ever hitchhike,
Oh,
Michael, or know
God,
anyone?
no. No,
No?
no,
Okay.
no, no, no,
Oh, I
no.
don't know. I was
No, no, that is the opposite of what I would do. I will say I picked up a hitchhiker once, this guy.
Really? Okay, yeah, or picking up a hitchhiker was like a normal
Okay,
thing. Like, now it's like, what you would never do
I felt terrible. I don't know what I was thinking that day. I, lived in Ohio at the time, and I don't know what I was thinking. I saw this dude, it's like, "Okay, I'll pick him up." He got in the car, fine gentleman, I guess, I don't know.
Okay.
I got a few hundred feet down, I said, "I can't do this, you're gonna have to get out of the car."
Oh my gosh.
I felt bad, but I all of a sudden, like, got a panic, and
Oh my
so I
god, yeah.
asked him to get out, and he got out, so
What year was this, do you think?
92?
Okay, okay.
So not in the 70s,
Still
you
kinda
know,
dumb back then, didn't quite
yeah.
or unsafe.
Oh, that's
Well,
funny.
I'm glad he got out and didn't
Me
pull a
too,
gun on you
me too.
instead. I don't know, that's what I assume would happen. Anyway, alright, sorry to get
No, no, I love Anna Kendrick. I've heard great things
yeah,
about it. Haven't seen it yet, but it is on my list.
okay, great. Well, what about you? Did you check any movies off the list?
I watched a number of things. I'll bring up one. M. Night Shyamalan's new movie, Trap.
Oh, yes, okay. It's on my list as well.
Yeah, I do think people should watch it, but you're gonna have to suspend some reality
Okay, okay,
rules because it's pretty bonkers. Some people I follow who review movies, they were like, "Oh, I had a blast. It was great." I didn't think it was that great, but
okay.
it was such an interesting concept, but it just kind of blew my head a little bit. I just couldn't wrap my head around it enough.
Sure, okay. Well, I
Yeah.
remember I saw the preview when it came out, and I was, like, enthralled by it. I was like, "Ooh,
Mhm.
this seems really"
Well, the preview gave it all away. I mean, the whole
Really? So
thing.
there's
Oh
not
yeah.
much more to it than that? It's just
Nope.
okay. Well, you know what? It is actually on my list for this weekend to watch, so
I
maybe
would watch it though.
yeah, so maybe, yeah, we can revisit it next week on the
Oh
next
yeah,
pod, and
let's.
I'll let you know what my
Okay.
reaction was because I do plan to watch it, so
Awesome.
okay, fun. Alright, well, let's move on to our interview. As
Yep.
you said earlier, we had a ball catching up with Nikki Senyard again.
Oh, she's so nice.
Yeah, it was interesting. She was fresh off of attending Money 2020.
Mhm.
So I think she had some good insights just coming out of that. Talked a lot about AI and compliance. And, she actually said what I think is my new favorite analogy, which is AI is like a washing machine.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
Maybe I'll start saying that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So you'll get to hear all about what that means.
Mhm.
She also talks about the three top ways that she's decompressing from work and achieving balance these days. And these are all things you
Mhm.
can do when you don't have time because she's very busy,
She
obviously, as a
is.
company owner. So
Mhm.
those were very enlightening. And yeah, we have all that coming up next.
Hey, listeners, I want to tell you about our exclusive editorial product for subscribers only called the Executive Briefing. You've heard me explain it, but I'll tell you a little bit more about it in case you haven't. It's a monthly newsletter available by subscription only, and it's comprised of exclusive editorial content and analysis of credit union data, trends, and news. Information you're not going to find online because we haven't put it online. It's only available to subscribers. I'll try to stop saying that. You'll get access, though, to this content only in your inbox. It's really cool. It might help you grow your organization and better serve your members. That's what we're trying to help you achieve. In September, for instance, we analyzed the AI tools used by credit unions. It was fascinating. In October, we broke down the overall look at overdraft and NSFB landscape that is changing in the country. And in November, we're talking election results. Oof. We'll see how that goes. To subscribe, go to cutimes.com/subscribe. That's cutimes.com/subscribe. It's one of the new ways we're expanding our CU Times digital world for you, the executive briefing, at cutimes.com/subscribe.
Joining us in the virtual studio today for the second time is Nikki Senyard, CEO and founder of Fintel Connect in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Nikki, welcome back to the show.
I'm so excited to be here, guys. Thank you so much for having me back again.
So glad to have you back.
Great.
Absolutely. All right, so Nikki, we last spoke with you, it was about 7 months ago, back in March of this year. So, how have you been doing since then, and how's business been going for you at Fintel Connect?
It's actually been going really well. This year, we've had a really significant change in, I suppose, our approach.
Okay.
We've been working a lot more deeply with a lot of our clients, which has also given us a great ability to get some more insight, to understand what it's like on the other side of the fence. And I think what we've been able to do is get all of that information together and be able to sort of like work more closely with our clients to help them reach their goals, which is my fun job.
Of course.
So yeah, it's been really good and growing, which is lovely.
Fantastic. And besides the fact that you're just a lovely person, we wanted to have you back because you all released the first ever financial industry affiliate marketing report. Long title, but it's great. And we found it very interesting. Can you kind of give us an overview of what this report covers, what its purpose is, and who was surveyed for this report?
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's the first time a report like this has been done in the industry. For those of you out there that don't realize that we're a specialist company and we only deal in financial services.
Mhm.
So that puts us in a pretty unique position. And then when you look at affiliate marketing, it is again something that's pretty specialized, used across multiple different industries, but it has a really different flavor when you get to financial services.
Yeah.
So you've got financial services as being a niche, you've got affiliates being a niche. So when we marry those two things together, it's a bit of a black box, I suppose.
Hmm.
And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to shine some light into that black box, which is the reason that we did this survey. So what we did is we talked to about 110, 120 publishers or influencers or affiliates.
Mhm.
All of those names are interchangeable. And we talked to them across both Canada and the US. And the whole idea of it was to give our clients and people within the financial services marketing area, whether in your case for the credit unions,
Mhm.
an insight into what the publishers see as trends. Because these guys are where the rubber hits the road with consumer intent. These are the guys that are appealing to the people out there that are using the financial services product. And we wanted to see where they saw the industry going. And that's what we did.
Fantastic.
Excellent. So, what would you say were some of the top takeaways from this report when it comes to thinking about our audience, which is obviously credit
Yep.
unions across the United States? What were some of the top takeaways that credit unions should care about? What was the connection there?
I think it's looking at probably consumer product trends.
Okay.
I think that's probably the most practical thing that credit unions can look at. And I don't think this is going to be a surprise to anybody, but understand that we've sort of released the report earlier in the year
Mhm.
and then it's almost played out over time. And it has a lot to do with the macroeconomic conditions.
Mhm.
So we do know and have seen that interest rates are going down.
Yeah.
And so at that point where everybody isn't so focused on the savings element of it, people are starting to move, especially in the US, affiliates perceive that they're starting to move more towards the investments. So savings products still being very interesting,
Yeah.
but looking at that diversification of consumer intent now starting to focus on mortgage and investments. And I think that a lot of what the publishers in the US are seeing is expanding horizons into sort of like credit cards, which is more into that loan type area,
Mhm.
as well as still a really big focus on the savings. So I don't think until interest rates come down probably below 4
Yeah.
that we will see a big shift in the market. But I think having that macro attention on how it's going to affect the product makeup for an acquisition of how to get new members is where I think credit unions should be really placing their energy.
Yeah, and just of note to all of that, and I appreciate you bringing that up. We're roughly a week away, as of this recording, from the Feds probably dropping it another 50
Yep.
basis points. So we will see coming up. But one other finding of your report that we were particularly interested in, and we've had some amazing discussions about this topic this year. In the report, it stated that 46% of US respondents said they'd be incorporating AI generated content into their marketing this year as a new tactic. What are some of the AI generated financial product marketing examples? What do those look like?
I think with AI, for everybody out there, at the time of this recording, we've just had Money 2020,
Yeah.
and the constant theme through that collection of amorphous, massive human beings was, of course, AI. And I think where I come to when I look at AI, and I can't speak for the publishers, but I can extrapolate this out for them,
Mhm.
is that it's really about a tool to thought start a whole lot of things. And, it's either to crunch data in a way that, our poor machines can't.
Mhm.
And it's also to generate thoughts from out of left field that you may not have considered.
Exactly.
So not only is we in our working life are trying to do more with less, and that's where AI comes in.
Mm.
And as the people in credit unions, more often than not, are doing exactly the same thing, Google is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And Google is actually using AI to make financial recommendation.
Mm.
And all of us that, yes, that's a very scary thing.
Yeah.
All of us who get out there know that AI is not the end, it's along the journey to the end.
Yeah.
And so, what we're really in a situation of is that what we need to be able to do, and this is where publishers are using it, they're using it as a sort of like a heavy lifting leverage tool. They absolutely know their ins and outs of what they're doing, but what they're trying to do is do more with less. So it's starting on article ideas. It's sort of like doing some comparisons with data out there that instead of having to individually crunch the numbers, they're
Mhm.
sort of getting the tool to help them with. But what the publishers that we work with anyway are absolutely polishing that stone with intelligence and with applications so they're not leading to false information.
Yeah.
So I just think with anything when it comes to AI, there is not that consideration element on it. And so that's where we're trying to make sure that it doesn't influence the audience in the wrong direction, I suppose is the best way of putting it.
Sure. I wanted to point out something though to that, and I'm glad you were at Money 2020 and have that perspective, because also coming out of that from Google to your scary comment about finances, they even admitted 40% of the code they create now is done by AI.
That's exactly right. So I think the way that I'm trying to look at AI personally is it's like a washing machine.
Yeah.
We don't have to wash anymore by hand, but you still have to put the thing in and you still have to take the thing out. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's still work that we need to do around all of this, but it's definitely a labor saving tool, maybe the best way of putting it.
Mhm.
But I think leaning in too far is at your peril in any way, shape, or form. And publishers are in the same category as that.
Good point.
Great analogy, Nikki, with that washing machine. I love that. That's very helpful. So now, just kind of looking beyond the scope of this report that we've been talking about, and just thinking about, your work overall through Fintel Connect, is there anything that you find that credit unions specifically are looking for when they're choosing to work with an affiliate, say opposed to fintechs and banks? Because I know you serve all of those types of companies.
I think the great thing about the credit union space is that they're so helpful to their members.
Hmm.
And I think that's where this relationship between credit unions and publishers out there is such a marriage made in heaven, because these publishers out there, for the most extent, are really about financial literacy, helping their audience understand what their choices are,
Mhm.
and really to contribute to financial decisions to a lot of people, including myself, are really stressful because there's so much you feel like you don't know. I'm not a financial expert, like I'm not an expert on different investment strategies or different product choices and things like that.
Mhm.
And I think where the publishers are coming to, they're just trying to help. And I think credit unions and that relationship with publishers is such a great connection because I find credit unions are in exactly the same place. They're wanting to make sure that their members are getting the access to the best products that the credit union can supply. They're interested in how they can help support that financial wellness of the people that they work with. And I think it's really interesting. We've got some great credit union relationships, and really it's about growth, but it's about healthy growth for
Mhm.
both the credit union and their members.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the relationship is such a key differentiator as far as marketing tactics go in the industry.
So, Nikki, let's switch gears a little bit and go over to compliance for a moment.
Oh my God, that's a switch.
I know, right? Slam on the brakes, turn left. Here we are, compliance. Since we've spoken last time, this world has gotten more confusing in compliance. What are the biggest compliance risks credit unions are facing as you see it when it comes to utilizing third party marketing content?
It's like we were talking about with AI, actually. It's
Yeah.
just leaning in too far.
Okay.
Compliance is about safety and protection. It's not about a hammer or an axe.
Hmm.
And I think what happens is, I mean, I personally love compliance and I really love it because how do you do well within the bounds? I love trying to do something that other people don't.
Hmm.
And I think compliance is something that gives everybody a very clear boundary of what's in bounds and what's out of bounds.
Yeah.
And I think what we do as marketers, especially in for credit unions and in financial services, is we need to play inbound. And then the trick or the trade is that how do we get the joy and the passion and the energy in for financial products that can be sometimes a bit dry.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what we need to be doing as marketers related to all of this is conveying the benefits without going out of bounds. And I think that's where the compliance element is really good because you can't talk up a product too much because then you're going over what is necessary for compliance.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we need to generate some enthusiasm and some energy around what we're offering.
Yeah.
So I think what it is the compliance element in financial services marketing just makes us be more pragmatic and sensible about the way that we do it. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we can't be enthusiastic and excited. I think that's probably the best way of putting it.
I agree. And to compete with your washing machine analogy, I think compliance as you see it, because I similarly look at compliance and regulations in that I love to follow recipes, especially
Yes.
when baking. You can't screw around with it. But, you have a baseline of what needs to be done, but you can sprinkle in the creative side here and there.
That's right.
And that's how I view it. So I appreciate your vision pairing with mine on this.
That's it. And I mean, to the point that I've actually developed a tool doing this
Hmm.
using artificial intelligence.
Okay.
It's been a passion project of mine actually over the last probably 3 years. So I think the compliance analysts are the ones that are looking at the content on all of these websites. They've got to go through so much.
Yeah.
And I wanted to develop something that would help them do more and do better. And we've developed a product called Fintel Check that is actually built to police the content on these websites out there. And go back to the washing machine analogy, I use it as a calculator. It's a very unsexy product
Yeah.
that I'm so excited about because it's so functional.
Great.
Yes, love that.
That's what it does. That's exactly right.
Well, Nikki, that actually brings me right to the next question I had. I wanted to see if we could marry AI with compliance a little bit. And you just brought up the Fintel check. I was
Yep.
going to ask you what types of, or how can credit unions use AI to protect themselves against these regulatory violations and make sure that they're in compliance when it comes to the
Yeah,
marketing content. So, can you elaborate a little bit on this tool?
I'd love to. And like I said, it's sort of something that's a passion project. So I sort of am talking about it left, right, and center. What the biggest thing when it comes to credit unions and content, the two tasks that need to be done. One is approving the content, and then one is policing the content. The policing of the content is the hardest, and that's where we started. And we'll sort of like go back to the approval next year, actually. But what we do is we get the credit unions to put in two variables. One is the URL of where the content that they want to police, and then rules. And then what we do is we marry those two things together, but we're using machine learning and AI to do the first draft. We're looking at putting these pages through these rules engines to see if we've got whether it's a pass or a fail. So we've broken the report into two different sections. One is evaluation, where we look at is the interest rate correct? Is the disclaimer correct? All of those sorts of what I call hard facts need to be in place.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second part of the second report is looking at what we call trigger terms, which are things like free, guaranteed, promotional time, all of those sorts of things. Words in themselves that aren't wrong, but out of context, they then start to get into that out of bounds area. So we've got a tool that will actually scan the pages and find these mentions and then actually report on them. So it's what we're trying to do is in save the labor of these compliance analysts having to scour pages and pages and pages and make sure that they're taking everything into consideration. So we then present that to the compliance analyst so they can review it. So back to labor saving tools, we're not the ones saying that it's okay or not, but we're basically correlating it all so that it'll make it a lot easier for someone to do it in a much faster way.
So, Nikki, sliding into kind of the end of this first part of the interview, we are big fans. We've been big fans of your organization and your leadership style. It's something that we truly love watching. And
Thank you.
last time we talked, we kind of highlighted the fact that you have a fully female led organization. How is everything going? How's the team doing? How do you keep this going forward? How's everybody doing?
Oh, it's amazing and very, very exciting. We, in the last 12 months, have had 9 people go out on maternity leave, and we're a team of 50. So that's a
Wow.
very, which is a very, very high rate. And our COO, actually, her baby is probably now 9 months old,
Oh,
but it's very exciting because she's actually been able to come back and she's now in a chief strategy role and I'm working very closely with her.
awesome.
So it's been very interesting to see how these maternities have affected the organization.
Hmm.
And I've got to tell you, it's been exciting.
Hmm.
And the reason that it's been so exciting is because we're growing. So by the time these amazing women come back to work,
Yeah,
we've been able to utilize their institutional knowledge as far as the organization at the next level.
great.
So we've backfilled their jobs and we've then been able to utilize them to come back and do more things as they join us. So it's going brilliantly. But
Great.
I think the maternities are some things that some of the people would have been pretty apprehensive about, but we've seen it as a really good breaking of the mold and doing things differently
Yeah.
as we go along. So it's been
Wow.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Again, we're big fans of this way of thinking. So great.
Right.
Yep.
Well, so I have to ask, so how do you kind of work with your employees to allow them to balance like that personal life with the work life, especially having babies, obviously having to be out of the office for a while, like when they come
Yep.
back? I mean, do you allow them to bring the baby to work? Like, or how is there certain policies you have or kind of ways you support all of that?
Yeah, we basically baby's not in the office because we're sort of busting at the seams as it is. We're
Okay.
like we're actually just looking for new office space. But what we've just done is it's about inclusion and whether that's inclusion through communication in person or inclusion through making sure that they know what's going on in the organization. But what we've done is we've put in place like a transition back to work. Maybe that's the best way of putting it.
Right.
So we're a bit different that all of the people that like 99% of the people that work with me are actually here in Vancouver and come into the office 4 days a week.
Okay.
So what we've done is we've sort of put into place a gradual return to work so that they can still start to take over their positions or whatever positions they now have, but start to do some of it more from home and then gradually integrate back into the company.
Yeah.
And we're tweaking it, I think is the best way of putting it. Some people have taken time off and will just come back, and other people have said, like I'd like to do a reintegration, as it were, and we've been happy to accommodate them. So it's been fantastic.
Awesome. Okay, Nikki, so one final quick question here before we go into our second part of the interview. As a company founder yourself, I was really curious, what do you think are the personality traits a successful company founder should have? Is there anything other company founders you've met that they have in common?
Yeah, I think one of the things I've looked at this a lot because for my sins, this is the second time I've done it from scratch. So it's sort of like, I'm not doing it ever again, ever again.
Okay.
But I think what has to happen is that you have to have two qualities that are probably incredibly obvious. One is a vision and a vision for where you're going and to be able to see in the future. Stephen Covey's book, Begin with the End in Mind.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, Begin with the End in Mind.
Hmm.
That's the vision. But the other thing that I think also successful founders have is the ability to execute.
Mhm.
And it's the combination of that execution and vision, which I think are very unique to founder led companies.
Right, well, we appreciate you, representing just the idea of a successful founder and especially a female founder, which I know we
Hmm.
need more of, so
Yeah.
that's awesome. All right, Nikki, let's go ahead and move on to the second part of our interview, which is the fun part, because you've done it before and you know that it is all about you. So, are you ready?
I am.
All right. So, first question I had, I know we actually talked a little bit before we started recording here about just how busy everyone's been, how fast the years gone by. I'm curious, what are some of your top ways to decompress from work these days to kind of relieve stress?
I have three actually that I do pretty religiously. One, I do yoga. I try to do
Okay.
yoga at least 5 times a week. So it's something that my
Hmm.
aging body really appreciates. Second is that I actually love to walk. And so my goal is to do about 10 kilometers at least 4 or 5 times a week.
Hmm.
And that's just steps along the way. This is not necessarily running or doing anything more deliberate,
Hmm.
but just to keep my body moving. And the second thing is that I love to read. And so I think because of my travel schedule, because of the way that my lifestyle's set, taking a book on my phone is a really
Mhm.
easy thing to be able to do. So those are the three things that I do. So something that turns my brain off, something that stretches my body out, and something that
Yeah.
moves my body. So those are my things.
Can I ask about yoga really quick?
Sure.
How long do you do a class for? Do you do like a 15, 30, 60 minute? What?
I actually am very fortunate that I do yoga with somebody. And so I would do 4 or 5 sessions a week that are for an hour and then one
Okay.
session for 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm terrible at yoga and I'm trying to get into it.
I have now been doing this pretty religiously for 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's one of the ways that I can sustain my energy because my
Yeah.
body is stretched out. And I have found that it's by working with someone that will gradually move me along.
Hmm.
So I would literally find someone that you can work with.
Okay.
Because unfortunately or fortunately, when you're doing stuff with your body that it's not used to doing at
Yeah.
my twilight years, I need someone I can trust. And that's
Sure.
something I've been able to do with it.
All right. So that sounds like the key I've been missing. So thank you. That was
No
helpful.
problem.
Okay. Now I have a really dumb question here. It's going to seem stupid, but so we just celebrated Halloween.
Yes, of course.
Do they do Halloween in Canada?
Oh my lord, yes.
It's a dumb question, but I wasn't
No,
sure.
it's big. There were fireworks around the city last night. So
Oh,
it's a really big holiday. It's not a holiday, it's a really big event, I think.
event. Yeah.
I think what we were talking about it yesterday on one of my calls. My experience living in two different cities in Canada is that I've seen that different suburbs, depending on the different levels of kids, I suppose,
Hmm.
celebrate it more intensely than not. So, I've lived on some really good streets that kids would be bussed in for Halloween.
Yeah.
And so it was really fun to celebrate it along the way. But yeah, I saw fireworks in multiple different suburbs yesterday for Halloween here.
Did you dress up?
I did not. I was more interested in recovering from money 2020 than dressing.
That is a good point. Yeah.
Smart.
That's it.
Great. Okay, now, so I wanted to follow up with the three ways to decompress that you brought
Yep.
up. One of them was reading books. Any favorite books you've read this year that stand out for you that you would recommend?
Oh, and I don't mean to avoid this. It's just the fact that I probably read about 15 to 20 books a month.
Oh,
And
wow.
Wow.
That's
yes,
incredible.
so it really, they blend, I've got to tell you. But it's like, and I mean, to me, they're absolutely not highbrow more than anything else. They're a combination of mystery or intrigue or whatever else. But I find that, where some people will vague out on a Netflix series, a girlfriend of mine does Emily in Paris, but it's that sort of reading. It's definitely not contributory to my intellectual capacity whatsoever. But
Great.
I read a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. I was actually, while you were answering that, I was also looking back to see if I could find the answer that we asked last time of what was the last movie you watched, but I can't find the answer.
No, because I don't watch
I
movies.
remember what it was. No, it was Damsel with Millie
Yes,
Bobby Brown. Yeah.
yes.
Oh, there it is. Thank you.
I don't think I've watched a movie since then. Goodness
Oh,
Oh,
gracious.
really?
really?
But what I would like to say is one of the things that I have done that I really enjoyed doing, which is sort of a little bit different for me, is that I have listened to Brene Brown's podcast,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Living Beyond Human
Mhm.
experience or something, and I've really enjoyed that.
It's very good.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
was listening to that while I was walking. Sorry, I don't have a movie to replace that with. I don't think I remember watching a movie just recently, but that podcast is really good.
It is. And Nikki, you're a better person for not watching probably a lot of the movies right now. So good for you.
Not missing much. Yeah, the bar is kinda low lately.
Yeah, no, I just haven't watched anything.
Alright, well, unfortunately, we love chatting with you, Nikki. We're
We
gonna have
do.
to wrap it up here. So, yeah, really appreciate it. Nikki Senyard, CEO and founder of Fintel Connect, thank you so much for coming back on our show. It was a pleasure catching up.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys are so much fun to hang out with.
We love you, Nikki.
And for all of our listeners, please subscribe to Shared Accounts with CU Times, anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever. You know how this works. And if you want to rate us, we would love your feedback. And for those of you with questions or comments, feel free to email me over at nchilingarian@cutimes.com, or you can email Michael at mogden@cutimes.com.
And a big thank you to our producer, Zach Nyheisel. Thanks, Zach. Join us again next week for a new episode of Shared Accounts with CU Times. Until then, thanks for listening.